You can ring Doug's bell. Ring Doug's bell. Doug's bell. Ring Doug's bell. You can ring Doug's bell. Ring Doug's bell. Doug's bell. Ring Doug's bell. Welcome to the Doug Bellcast. And now, here is your host, the star of Ring My Bell, Doug Bell. Oh, hi. I'm saying hello. I'm not high. No, I'm not actually. The stuff I take doesn't affect my mood at all. It just kind of keels me out, even keels me, like I feel like aware and ready to, anyway. Yeah, Bellcast is here, Doug Bellcast. This is, we got fire today. Couple of things, put my bell there, so I hate to not be like within reaching distance of my bell, because you never know. Like when, not now because I'm home, but a fan will sometimes walk by if I'm at an outdoor cafe, have myself like a nice cup of Sanka, maybe like an old fashioned donut and a nice cup of Sanka. Somebody will walk by and go, "Hey, Bell," and I'll go, "Yeah, guilty," something like that. Guilty as charged is me, But I got the whole thing. I got to clear up. The guy, comedian in New York, Michael O'Cannon. He's an Irish comedian who lifts a lot of weights, but runs marathons and stuff. He's a good kid. We got like a thing though, because look, he's a Ring My Bell fan, obviously, and he I see him around at the city and blah blah blah. I hadn't gone on in a few years, so I would walk up to him and I seen him there, and I go, "Michael O'Cannon." I go, "Doug Bell," and he goes, "Hey," and he acts like he doesn't know who I am. Like, it was crazy. This is probably three years back, before I made like the huge comeback. So in my mind, I'm going, "Oh, I see. He doesn't know who Bell is." So I walk up again. I see him probably 5 days later. I walk in the club, they want me to pay. I pay, I'm like, fuck no, I don't need any hassles, you know what I mean? Because I told the guy at the door, "My name's Doug Bell." And he goes, "Well, Mr. Bell, it's going to be $15. So I probably could have had him fired, talking to the manager. All I had to do is but I said, "No, let me just, boom, just keep it low, even keel, Bell." So I go in, I see Michael O'Cannon again. He's there. And I walk over again, and he goes, "Hey," like he recognized me now. Now he's not pretending. And I go, "Hey, how you doing? I'm not sure if I introduced myself." I says, "Doug Bell." I'm shaking the bell, and it didn't shake as well with the left hand. Maybe that was part of the problem. It's not as good. Like, you give me the right hand, I could bell all day. "Hey, I'm Doug Bell." I would do that if I seen him. Michael O'Cannon. But I was like, with lefty, I'm not that. It's just not, doesn't have the same tingling to it. So anyway, I see him. I go, "Hey, Doug Bell again." Again, ringing a bell. And he goes, "Yeah. So I go, I see he lifts a lot of weights, I'm checking him out, like, in case stuff goes the direction that, you got to size a joker up, some sizing this joker up. And he goes on stage, and I'm like, he's obviously like a huge Bell fan. I mean, he stole my look, like the rugged kind of outdoors. Like, people look at me now, they think I'm 18. I'm not, but they look at me and go, "This is a teenager. What are you old enough to be here, buddy?" And I got to show ID. I'm like, "Yeah, but he kind of took my look to Michael O'Cannon, but then I see him, and he's not even saying, "Hey, Bell, thanks for paving the way, Bell. Thanks for doing what you do. He's just acting like all of a sudden it's just him and him and his weights. So I said that to him when he came off. I go, Ken, I go, get over here. And he goes, I gotta go. I'm late for what I call a spot. I didn't know what he meant at first. I never called it a spot. I would never go to a spot that's so callous. I would always go like where are you going? I'm like, I got an opportunity at that club. I got an opportunity. I'm gonna go make the most of that opportunity. So anyway, O'Cannon says he's got a spot. And I joked to him. I'm like, are you sure? I don't think you heard me because he'd gone up the steps, but it was funny. There was a lady standing there, and she smiled. I go, you the shirt spot thing? And she goes, okay. And I'm like, oh, she doesn't even, this is a whole nother conversation. So I follow him up, and again, I'm not going to lie and tell you, hey, I was coming from, this, a sober town, because I wasn't. I was a little tipsy. I was like 4 vodka cokes in. I was angry. I was in a bad mood. I was upstairs, and there was a waitress that I saw, and she's a type of girl that would have just creamed the scene in Bell back in 2005. I go to her. I say, hey, how you doing? And she goes, do you want something? And I'm like, I go, you got any nachos? And, yeah, I was a little drunk. And she goes, no, we don't. And I was like, you got a fucking attitude. Like I said that to her. And it just brought back a lot. I start crying. I'm upstairs in the club and I'm crying. And it was a bad scene. So anyway, I guess when I go down, I see O'Cannon. It got like a little But I walk up, follow him out the door. He's walking out and I'm drunk and I got my Sanka. You know what I mean? Sometimes a little vodka in the Sanka, just to kind of, again, it keels me out, even keel. So I go, O'Cannon, how come you're not gonna, tell people that, how much of an influence I was on you? He goes, what do you mean? And I go, come on, you know what I mean? Look at the hair, your hair, my hair. And then he goes, what do he say? He says, get out of town, Bell. I've do this since high school, a wrestler and stuff like that. And so I go, yeah, you think because you're a wrestler that I'm going to take a bunch of your shit? And when I said that, I kind of leaned over and I drooled a little bit in front of him. So he just walked away. I was like, I'm not taking your shit. And so I kind of felt bad, because I now went back in the club and the waitress asked me to leave her alone. I got emotional again. So I want to make it up to O'Cannon. I feel bad. The kid looks up to me. He's just he's shy around me, obviously. So I come back the next night and I got a present for him. Because I'm going to crack him up. I know what comedians, fellow jokesters like. So he's like a big UFO guy, so I bring him, in my hand of God, I did this crazy. I bring him, I got an ice cream sandwich. I take frozen snow peas and I put them around in the ice cream. Boom, 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 boom. I put 17 frozen snow peas around the ice cream. Because I used to do that when I was a kid. I would get my veggies, I'd get my dessert. It's just good. It's a good treat. Ice cream sandwich with some frozen snow peas or lima beans, whatever you got. So O'Cannon, I go, I'm gonna make this kid smile. After yesterday, I think I scared him. He was like, fuck, Bell's here, he's pissed off, blah, 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 it's gonna get crazy. So he scampered off, I got the ice cream sandwich with the little snow peas in it. So I walk over to him and I go, I got a gift for you. He goes, come on, man, what are we doing? He tells me not to come near him. He gets like aggressive with me, and I'm like, I'm sorry, whatever yesterday, dude. And I pointed to hair again. I'm like, but we, whatever, it's all good. And then I got the treat for him. I'm like, but I got a treat for you. It's gonna make you go crazy. I pull it out of my pocket. It was melted, a little bit melted. It was in my pocket for about an hour. But it was in a plastic baggie, and it got like a little bit of dirt on it. And it was like, he's all snotty. I don't want that. And I'm like, it's rude, man. Like, I made you a treat. And it wasn't like there was like lint on it. It was just at the bottom of the baggie. And a little melted. So it was like a little ice cream with a couple of frozen peas floating in it. But O'Cannon wouldn't take it. So, and the club owner asked me to leave. It was so political, dude. I guarantee it was because they're afraid I'm going to go up there and talk about their big golden boy, their O'Cannon. Oh, O'Cannon did this and that, It's just bullshit. I mean, but whatever. I mean, on to brighter bells. That's what I always say. And people ask me like that, because I'm blowing a little off Hollywood, dude. This is Mr. Nice Guy. Excuse me. Mr. Nice Guy stuff is over. The Dwayne Rock JOHNSTON. Dwayne Rock. He's a cool guy. I've seen him one time. It's so funny because he's a big wrestler, and so Cannon, everything's good with him, I think. But Dwayne Rock JOHNSTON, people like ask me, tell that story. I seen him one time. He was down in Tampa, and I was down in Tampa. There was this girl I liked, right? And she moved to Tampa. And I'm like, I'm gonna surprise her. She's gonna go crazy because we had gone out to a diner one time, had some mozzarella sticks, told a few jokes, smoked a couple butts. So I went down there to Tampa to surprise her. It had been like probably like 6 years since I'd seen her, but I'm like, we had fun that time. So I found out where she lived and blah, blah, blah. She had an unlisted number, but then I showed up and she's holding the baby and her husband's there. And I was like, well, I got no place to stay. And she's like, look, my mother's staying here. She's got cancer. And I didn't know what to, I was like nervous. So I just go, what kind? Like I said it I was like, what kind? And she was like, what? And I see the old woman in the back on a hospital bed. So I pull out the bell to cheer her up. I'm like, hey, you're going to be all right. Everything's going to be fine. Doctor called. He said the cure's on the way. I'm just trying to ringing the bell into the screen. And the girl's husband came over and he pushed me off the porch into the bushes. So anyway, I'm down there. I'm in Tampa, and I'm walking by this IKEA, and I see Dwayne Rock JOHNSTON. So I look at him. And he looks over, and I go, Dwayne Rock, and I go like, hey man, are you going into a food store? Cause I want to see what's cooking. Like I'm screaming, what's cooking? And he loves it. I mean, he loves it, man. He's, so I'm walking up to him and I'm going, what's cooking? So I'm doing it like him. I'm like, I want to see what Dwayne Rock's cooking. What are you cooking? I'm screaming it, in the parking lot outside of IKEA. And he goes, hey man, listen, I gotta go in there and get something. I go, come on, man, don't treat me like I'm some just like average jablokey. Cause I'm not just a jablokey. Like I'm I'm like, yo, don't get confused. I said something to him like that, but don't go, hey, I'm not Vince McManus. I said, I'm not Vince McManus, ringing the bell and stuff. And I go, look, dude, because I had always wanted to get into wrestling. Like I thought, like I'd be so cool as like a manager. Um, so I asked him if he had like any numbers for me. I told him like I like his movies a lot, and I'm like, dude, the action. I kind of started giving like the quick, like I gotta talk about myself. I'm like, Doug Bell, ring my bell. And I had like a photo album with me with pictures of like me on the set of Ring My Bell, like doing that. And there's a funny, famous picture of me. Like a contestant got it wrong, and I'm like, oh, like that. Like I pretty much. Oh no, I had a bell on it, and so I got my photo album out, and I'm just showing him these things, kind of walking down memory lane, and it's raining out, and he's like getting a little frustrated because he's like, I got to get inside, and I'm like, you treat me like a jabloki. My album's getting all wet. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy your wrestling toys anymore. I'm not gonna go see your pictures anymore. And then I'm like, anybody who's walking by, I'm like, hey, don't talk to Dwayne Rock if he's in there, because he's not gonna want to look at your photos. He's not gonna want to talk about anything with you. He's just rude, So treat me like a jabloki. So, but I seen him one time after that in the airport. And I walked up and I was hungover. Like I was really hungover. I think I had vomit on my shirt. And I go, Dwayne Rock, and I was like, Dwayne Rock. I go, it's Bell again. I go look about that, because it was probably 3 years later. I go about that parking lot fiasco. He goes, what are you talking about? I go back outside the IKEA, and he goes, oh, and then he immediately just like walks into the lounge. So I try to follow him in to go talk to him in the airport lounge. He walks in and he's like waving over his shoulder. So I'm like, I told the lady, he's waving me in, bae. He's waving me. Dwayne Rock is asking me to come. She's like, sir, you got to be a member. Can't follow people in here. And I'm like, I ain't following anybody. I'm tooting on the bell. Boom, boom, boom. You know what I mean? Because I wanted him to hear it and come back out, and like, because he probably thought I was right behind him. But if you know Dwayne Rock, just tell him like, Bell's got a movie idea. Me and him. It's gonna be so cool. Like I could be like the villain who's chasing him. It's just like, he gets away at the end. Like maybe he's like a guy who's like, he's going to his office or something, and there's like he loses his briefcase, and I put a bomb in the briefcase and he doesn't know it. So he's carrying a bomb to his own office but has no idea. So then like I'm chasing him, and he eventually gets away. But just tell him, if you see him, just tell him Bell's looking for him, and that lady, she should literally be fired. I'll tell him the airline and the date and everything, so he could probably get her fired for interrupting our talk. But listen, this is the end of this Bellcast. This is really a cool one, high powered, good and bad, right? Like Dwayne Rock and me are gonna make like a cool reunion, And if you see Michael O'Cannon, tell him I'm not after him. I'm not looking for him. Like he hasn't been at the club. I would show up. I would call up and go, hey, it's Bell. So O'Cannon coming in. And I go, who? I go, oh, I know what's going on here. It's the Stonewall Bell. Stone Bell's out in the cold. O'Cannon's in there enjoying the stage with this haircut, and all of a sudden Bell's out in the cold. Listen, whatever, man. Just go get yourself a Fly Wild and Stay Gold shirt, and while you're at it, fly wild and stay gold. You can ring Doug's bell. Ring Doug's bell. Doug's bell. Ring Doug's bell. You can ring Doug's bell. Ring Doug's bell. Doug's bell. Ring Doug's bell.